All right, guys, what is up? We're back and we're live. Welcome back to our weekly live feed. We are actually doing 3 live feeds this week. This is our second of 3. If you're logging on Instagram, we are live on YouTube. I typically have it on Facebook, but there was an error trying to get it going on Facebook this time, so we're not on Facebook tonight. I tried, but no Facebook. So it's just YouTube and Instagram tonight. We will be screen sharing on YouTube. So check it out if you're not on there now, because there's no screen share on Instagram. What is up? Say hi when you log on. Tonight we are previewing the Wellness Olympia. Tomorrow we'll be previewing the Bikini Olympia. So tonight is Wellness, tomorrow will be Bikini. What's up? What's up? Yeah, say hi when you get on here. We always give it a few minutes for people to get logged on. If you are over on Instagram and you want to join us on YouTube, you can click the link in my bio on Instagram, and that'll take you to our YouTube channel. So head over to YouTube if you want to see the screen sharing and the photos and all of that. We are previewing the Wellness Olympia, and I'm going to give you I think I have top 13 is what I have picked out. So I know a random number, lucky number 13, right? But I just kind of went through the list and pulled people I think to be paying attention to. So while we go through this, and again, I'm going to give it a couple minutes for people to get on here. But when we go through this list and everything, if there's anybody that I don't have on my list, please feel free to mention their name and I will pull them up so we can take a look at them. In the meantime, if you want to come work with me, there's our cutie boutique right here, the QR code up in the corner. That will take you to our boutique. There you can sign up for posing, for suits, for hair and makeup, for retail. We have activewear, we have loungewear, we have makeup, we have all sorts of stuff over there. So check it out. That is our new boutique right there. And everything you need to know about working with me is there. So check it out. I'm going to give it another few minutes or a couple of seconds here, and then we'll get rolling. And yes, if you're logging on, feel free to say hi, comment. Even when we re-upload this afterwards, go back and like it and comment on it, everything like that. That helps us. That helps YouTube get to know us and puts us into their algorithms and all that so that we can get seen more. We've started doing, I used to do lives 3 nights a week every week. Now we're doing 1 live a week. We're doing behind the bikini, and then we're doing a pre-recorded. Now, because we've got Olympia hype coming up and the way that my schedule's worked out, we're just doing the Olympia hype live so that you guys can get involved in it as well. So tonight we're going to preview the Wellness Olympia. I'm going to talk about the people that I have to be paying attention to. And then if you happen to see somebody that I did not pick out from the Wellness Olympia list, feel free to shout their name out in the comments and I'll pull them up. We'll take a look. Wellness Olympia this year is going to be a little bit wonky because we have a decent list, but it's not nearly as big as it usually is for the last couple of years. Hang on a second. I'm trying to get this to go. My whole computer. Here we go. There we go. Okay. Here is the list of competitors that are qualified for the Wellness Olympia. That's everybody right there. So they all fit on the page. Frankly, it's kind of a small list, to be honest with you. It's a small list. You know, there's going to be like 3 call outs and that's about it. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So, 4 call outs, probably 5 call outs, maybe, depending on how many people they put in a call out, right? Most of these girls are from Brazil. Most of them are repeats. One name on this list that we will not be seeing is Angela Borges. She is not competing. She did take 3rd place this past year, but she will not be in the Olympia this year. So top 3 automatically qualify. So she did automatically qualify for this year's Olympia, but she came out and said she is not competing. So automatically we now have somebody, we have an open space in that top 5, right? Somebody's going to come in and fill up that 5th place or that 3rd place spot, right? So what I did is I pulled out who I think is going to be in the top 5. Now, a few of these girls could kind of move around a little bit, that kind of thing. And then I pulled out a handful of girls I think we need to be paying attention to that could potentially make some noise. Now, I do think this is an opportunity this year for the judges to really make a statement. I think some of the girls I have picked for the top 5, the reason that I've put them in the top 5 is because of titles that they have won this year, where they placed last year in the Olympia, that kind of thing. But I'm kind of hoping that we see some of the girls that are on the smaller side get rewarded here. I'd like to see some smaller competitors get pulled up, because I think once we get some of these bigger competitors next to Francielli, it's going to be very noticeable as far as who is in the criteria and who has gone past the criteria. So when we're in these, these shows throughout the year, we obviously don't have our top people in the shows, which includes Francielli, Isabel, and Angela. Those are your top 3, right? They didn't compete all year long. Cassandra did compete. Cassandra did compete at the Arnold. She won the Arnold, and then she competed in Canada as well. But the rest of these girls really kind of didn't compete a whole lot, other than to qualify. Like they got their qualification and they were kind of off the stage. But we're going to talk about each of them. I'm going to talk about where I think that they are going to excel and where I think they may have a little bit of an issue, that kind of thing. So we're going to go straight from the top down, right? So I don't think it's any surprise I have Francielli in the 1st place position. I really believe that until Francielli decides to compete or stop competing, she's probably going to continue to take this title every single year. There's really, she is the standard. This is the wellness standard, period, bar none. For every year that we've had the Wellness Olympia, she has won it. So I don't expect this year to be any different. The only thing that I could see her potentially, not winning a show or something is if she comes in off, which is possible. But as of yet, and since she started competing here in the United States, I haven't seen her off. I haven't seen her off one time. I've seen her on every single time. So she started out by winning the Arnold Amateur and then went straight from there. So I really think that she is the pinnacle of wellness. She is the one that everybody else is trying to chase. And, bottom line is that she's got the genetic shape, but she's also got the beauty. She's got the flow. She's got the overall just presence, the look, everything. So I'm just going to pull up each one of her quarter turns here. When you look at her, the biggest thing about her, she's stunning. First of all, she's beautiful. That's a big part of it, right? But you can see, she's clearly bigger on the lower half, smaller in the upper half. She has a tiny waistline. She's well conditioned, but she's not of a line. Like sometimes we see in these shows where these girls are just uber conditioned, like way too hard. And that's not her at all. Let's take a look. Let's find a back shot. Here we go. We talk about wellness being a imbalanced physique. So her upper half is smaller than her lower half, but when you look at her glutes and her legs are very well balanced together, right? You don't look at that and say, oh, she's got huge glutes, or you don't look at her and say, oh, she's got huge legs. No, they're in proportion with each other. And that's the biggest thing I think a lot of wellness girls get wrong. One or the other really stands out a lot. Whereas with her, you can see here, she's well conditioned and she's balanced in her size. Her glutes are balanced with her legs. That's what we're looking for, right? Let's move to a quarter turn. I don't know if she does the other side in her routine here. No, just her front pose. So she also calmed down her posing quite a bit this past year at the Olympia. And the only thing she competes in is the Olympia. She doesn't compete in any other shows. So, she used to be really over the top of the posing. She's really calmed it down. And again, she's kind of setting the standard for wellness here by doing that. So again, I don't see anybody beating her. I think this is just going to be her title until she decides to stop competing. So I think she's going to take home that first place position again. In second place, I do have Isabel. Again, she was second last year. I think she'll be second this year too. Again, she came up in the wellness world right alongside Francielli, same thing. Like they both won their pro cards at the Arnold Amateur next to each other kind of thing, you know? So, well, I'm sorry, I take that back because Isabel did not win her pro card at that particular show. She came in second, and second does not win pro card. She ended up winning her pro card later on at North Americans, I believe. Again, great wellness shape. You know, she got critiqued on being a little bit too small in the past. This past year, she came back and she had put on some significant size. She's got that small waistline. You can tell with her, she's got a little bit more size on the top than a Francielli would. But again, she's just got that nice full round quad, not over conditioned. Nothing is too much here. Really pretty look. Again, she's got the it factor. She's got that look. She's got that thing that everybody else wants. You know what I mean? And then again, when we look at her back pose, it's not overly conditioned. She is balanced with her glutes and she is balanced with her legs. Her upper body is smaller. The lower body is bigger. But again, glutes and legs are balanced. She won the Arnold, not this year, but the year before. She's also very hard to beat. The only one that can beat her is Francielli. So between the two of them, it's just going to be, I really think, unless somebody comes out of the woodworks, I think it's going to be 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, all the way across the board, right? So I do think she's going to end up in second place again. I think it's just going to be a repeat of this past year. Now, where we're going to see somebody different is going to be in third place because Angela is not competing. So the next three that I have, it's going to depend on how they come in. Okay, the next three that I have for the top 5, it's going to depend on how they come in that day. I don't have them in a specific order in this top 5 personally, but I do think they're going to be your top 5. Okay, so next one I have is Rayanne. So I believe that Rayanne will likely be in third place here. I think she's going to end up in third place, maybe 4th, but I don't see her in 5th. I see her in 3rd or 4th. Again, depending on how she comes in. Rayanne's biggest critique that she's had is that she's too big, right? Saw her in person at the Arnold, saw her in person at the at Tampa Pro. She's done a good job of reshaping her frame. She's done a good job of pulling her physique down. I don't think it's enough. I don't think she's small enough yet to overcome Isa, right? Or I'm sorry, Isabel. Isabel, whatever, second place. I don't think she's going to overcome her. I think she could be in 3rd place. Okay. Maybe in 4th. She's got a great wellness shape, great wellness overall frame. Same thing we talked about with Francielli and with Isa, but she's a little bit too muscular. Now, if she's been able to streamline her physique even more since Tampa, then it's very possible that she could end up in that 3rd place position. Let me find a back shot for her. It's a lot of pictures from Tampa. A lot of pictures from Tampa. So let's see. Hang on. Here we go. Okay. Here's a back shot. So you can see, I mean, again, she's well proportioned, well conditioned, all those kinds of things, but she's just bigger in size. She's got more mass, right? She's got more mass than the other top 2. So I don't see her surpassing. I don't see her in the top 2 position, potentially in 3rd. I see her potentially in 3rd because, again, she's got the shape. She's got the look. She's just a little bit too big. Now, if she was able to pull this down since Tampa even more, I mean, she may be given a fight for that 2nd place position, but I just don't see that happening. I could be wrong, though. You guys know I'm not always right. So I could definitely be wrong. Who I think could be in 3rd would be Cassandra. Now, the reason why I say this is Cassandra did win the Arnold. She also won this show here, which is a Canadian show, I believe, that we're at. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is Pittsburgh. I take that back. So she did not win Pittsburgh. I also don't think this was one of Cassandra's better looks in Pittsburgh. So let me find a front pose for you. Cassandra did win the Arnold, however. And I think the reason why is, again, going back to the size. She's got a great shape and frame, but she's not too big, right? I feel like Rayanne's a little bit too big. So she did beat Rayanne at the Arnold because I think the size, right? Cassandra has not been on stage since this past spring. So she may have done some things to reshape her frame a little bit and things like that too. Definitely possible. She did not win Pittsburgh. So that's why I say this top 5, 3, 4, 5 spots, it's really going to depend on how they come in that day because they've all beaten each other at one point or another. I think that if Cassandra comes in a really good shape and Rayanne's just a little bit too big, I think they're going to reward Cassandra. I think that would be the direction I would like to see it go because, again, I want to see them reward a little bit smaller. I don't want to see the mass rewarded. I don't want to see the big physiques rewarded. I want to see the smaller, more streamlined physiques rewarded. But it's just going to be a matter, again, of how they come in that day because they've all beaten each other at one point or another. These top, when we're talking 3 through 5. Here's a back shot for you with Cassandra. Fun fact with Cassandra, too, she did go pro in figure, not wellness. So you can see here, just looking at her from the back, again, she's well balanced with her glutes and her legs, but she's not too big. Okay, she's not too big. That's the thing that we keep going back to. We don't want to see that huge size, right? Again, I don't think this was her best look all year here in Pittsburgh, but we'll see. She's been off stage for a while. She's had time to rest. She's had time to come back and just bring back a better package. So I think she's going to fall between that 3 and 5, somewhere in there, depending on how she comes in. And then the last one that I have in that top 5 area is going to be Giselle. Okay, so Giselle did win Pittsburgh. She also won New York. Now, the issue with Giselle is that she's big, right? She's got a great look. She's got a great presence. Most of these pictures looks like she's not really posed. So let me see if I can find a good posed picture to pull up here. Well, here's a back shot. We'll do a back shot first. But again, when we look at Giselle is big, right? She's on the big side when it comes to size. I mentioned this before. I mean, when she came in, like you can see, like she's quite a bit bigger than Cassandra. We just talked about Cassandra. Just looking at her photos here, you can see that she's bigger than Cassandra. She's rivaling. If you put her next to Rayanne, the two of them are relatively similar as far as size is concerned. Well balanced, well conditioned, too big in my opinion. Okay, I like Cassandra for 3rd as well. I do as well. Again, going with the fact that, I want to see smaller physiques rewarded this year. So Giselle came in shredded and huge in Pittsburgh. She won it. I'm assuming that she was told that it was too much because when she came into New York, she was softer. Can't pull off size that quickly in a matter of a week. You know what I mean? But she did come in softer. She wasn't quite as hard as nails. She still did win New York. So, again, she won 2 shows. She won 2 big shows. But I just think she's a little bit on the big side. I do still think she's going to be in that top 5, but I just think she's going to be a little bit on the big side. So if I'm choosing, and if this goes the way that I think it's going to go, as far as how they're going to bring their physiques in, I would put her probably in 5th. And the reason why I would put her in 5th over Rayanne in 5th is because I think Rayanne has a better shape overall. Giselle's just a little bit big. She's just a little bit big in general, right? She's a little bit big, a little bit blocky. Rayanne's got a smaller waistline. Even though Rayanne's big as far as her muscle size is concerned, I think that she's got a prettier shape. Like when you look at Giselle's shape here, she's just a little bit blocky. Now, I don't think that the Olympia was her best look this year either. She was a little square at the Olympia. She got better, you know what I mean? But still, I still think that Rayanne is going to be better than Giselle. So if I was the one choosing the top 5, and if they're going to come in the way that I think that they're going to come in, then I would put Francielle, Isa, Cassandra, Rayanne, and Giselle. That would be my top 5. Okay. Now, the ones outside of that, I pulled up a bunch of girls to be paying attention to that I think could end up being, your 6 through, I think, 13. I pulled up a handful of names. First one that I pulled up was Tiffany. So she did very well this year. Brand new pro. These are terrible pictures as far as the lighting is concerned for Miami. This is the show that she won. But she did place top 4 in both Pittsburgh and in New York. Her pro debut was Pittsburgh, and I think that was like her second show ever. She's relatively young. She's on the bigger side. Her issue in those 2 shows was she just wasn't conditioned enough. But I do think she's going to compare well to these other girls I have in the top 5. She may be on a little bit on the bigger side, maybe. But I think if she took good feedback and got good feedback from those 2 shows, she's probably going to come in quite a bit tighter, probably a little bit smaller, more compact, that kind of thing. But I do think she's one to be paying attention to. I do think she's one that could be potentially in that top call out because she does, again, her actual shape does compare well to the other girls. Now, again, there's not a whole lot of pictures of her here in this particular show. So, they're not the best pictures in the world either. So it is what it is. But yeah, I do think that she's going to at least place. She'll be in the top 15, but first call out, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how she ends up looking. I think it's a good shot for her for first call out here, and we'll see. The next one I have on here is Alexis Adams. So Alexis did do the Arnold. She did win the Samson Showdown. She kind of shocked everybody at the Arnold because she came out and just like she was a last minute add-on. She was prepping. She wasn't initially invited to the Arnold, but then people dropped out. So she put her name in the ring, and then she ended up doing very well. She ended up looking great, and people were a little bit surprised because she just kind of came out of nowhere. I like Alexis's look a lot. I like her shape. I like her size. She is a little bit on the smaller side. Again, you're going to notice as we go through this, I'm choosing smaller girls. I like the smaller look better. That's me personally. I want to see the wellness division go that direction. So that's why I'm choosing these. Is it going to happen? We'll only know on show day, right? We'll only know once they're actually chosen. But I think that that she could potentially have a very good shot here. She could potentially be a first call out. She could potentially be a placing. I do think she's going to end up in the top 15. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out as far as how she looks on show day. But if she brings a really good package, I could see her in the top 10 for sure. I also brought up Lily Dong. So we're going to see her compete this weekend at the Clash. Again, she's another one that's on the smaller side. No surprise here. These are the ones I'm picking. You know what I mean? Depending on how she looks this coming weekend, that's going to determine quite a bit as far as if she is going to place or not. I think she'll probably be in that second call out. I think she'll probably be in the 12 to 15 range, probably in there, 10 to 15 range, potentially in the top 10. We'll see what she looks like this coming weekend. I do think she's going to place, maybe in the top 10, maybe, but I'm probably seeing more like somewhere between like 11 and 15 for her. Still really, really good placing, and placing period is a good thing here at the Olympia. But that's where I'm seeing her end up. Now she's done very, very well this year. She's won a show. She was top 5, top 4 in every other show that she was in. So I really like her shape. I really like her look. And if she comes in on point, I could see her moving up. I could see her in the top 10 too. If I had to guess right now, like I said, I would probably see her somewhere between 11 to 15. But we'll see. We'll see how she looks. The next thing that I brought up was Marissa Andrews. So Marissa did place at the Olympia this past year too. She was in first call out this past year. She won the Texas Pro, and she was in the top call out, 3rd place in Tampa. Marissa is big, guys. She's got a lot of mass, and I think that Tyler even said that she was too big and that she needs to bring it down. I don't think her conditioning was quite on point here in Texas either. So I want to see her streamlined, and I want to see her conditioning better. If she does that, she will 100% be in the top 10. Like, definitely. Absolutely. So it's going to be a matter of if she shows up on show day looking her best. If she does, she's going to be in the first call out. If she doesn't, then she'll probably still place regardless. She'll probably still be the top 15 if she's not at her best. If she's not at her best, she's probably going to be in the 13, 15 area. If she's at her best, she's going to be in the top 10. She could potentially be moving up to that like 6th place position, potentially even bumping somebody out of the top 5. But I don't see that happening. I see her somewhere, if she's at her best, somewhere between 6 to 10. We'll see, right? So yeah, all these girls I think are kind of bringing their size down, I'm hoping, but it's going to be a matter of how they show up on show day. And a lot of them we have not seen on stage since spring. You know what I mean? So a lot of things could change since, May, when a lot of these women were on stage. A lot of them were doing like, Pittsburgh and doing New York and things like that. I mean, you can see here, Marissa is quite big. Again, she's got the balance we talked about with the lower half of her body, but she is quite big as far as muscle is concerned, and conditioning needs to come in a little bit too. So we'll see if she comes in at her best, she's going to be in the top 10 for sure. One that I pulled up that I want to see is this Danielle. Now, we don't have a lot of photos of her, but I feel like she did one other show here in the States. I think she did well, if I remember correctly. I just remember looking at her earlier this year when I was pulling up pictures and stuff. And I really liked her look. I think she's got a great shape, and she's got a great overall look, and great overall, like, she's got a great wellness shape right here. I don't know a whole lot about her, to be honest with you, but I just like her look. So that's why I pulled her up. And if she comes in with this kind of shape and she's in the right kind of condition, she's got a tiny waistline. You can see it here. Proportions are really good for wellness, things like that. I could see her doing very, very well. Top 10 shape here from the front. I don't think they had a back shot here. Did they have a back shot? I feel like she did another show. Oh yeah, they do. They have a back shot. Yep. I feel like she did another show this year, because I remember looking at her, but these are the only pictures that I could find of her. So, but yeah, great wellness shape again from the back. Posing needs a little bit of work. She needs to stand up a little taller, that kind of thing. But I just think overall she's got a really pretty look. So I'm curious to see what she looks like. And I've just got her on my radar as far as watching her this Olympia. We got to think about these girls. A lot of them have not competed in the States. A lot of these wellness girls are competing in Brazil and things like that. So we haven't actually seen them here in the bigger shows. So just be paying attention to her. I think she could be potentially very good. Andrea is another one that I think that could come out and do very well. She has an amazing stage presence. Again, Arnold amateur overall winner 2 years ago. Her pro debut was this year at the Arnold. Beautiful girl. Her conditioning has always been her thing as far as what kind of knocks her out. She looks great from the front, from the back. Her conditioning is a little bit off sometimes. She did win a show though. Let me see. They have a back shot. They don't have a back shot up. That's right. I remember the show because I said I wish they had a back shot up, because I want to be able to see her back shot. Because I remember seeing her in Tampa, and the reason why I feel like she didn't win Tampa is because she wasn't conditioned enough from the back. So I did see like video and things like that of her from the Arizona show, and she looked pretty well conditioned. So I think coming into this show for the Olympia, I think she could definitely be one that kind of shocks some people. She has an amazing stage presence. Like, she's one of those people that when she's on stage, you can't not look at her. She looks amazing. She has a great flow. Like, her posing is amazing, all of those kinds of things. So as long as she brings in her conditioning on point, I think she could shock some people. I think she could be top 6. I really do. I think she could be a potential top 6. I think she could be a potential Olympia winner in a few years down the road. She's a taller girl, but she's got just such a pretty shape and just a pretty look overall. I really do like her look a lot. So I'm curious to see how she comes in at the Olympia this year, but I do think she's going to be in your top 10. She could potentially be one of those shockers that comes in and makes it into the top 5. So be paying attention to this girl. I've just seen her from the beginning of her pro career, just getting better and better and better. So definitely want to be watching for sure. I also brought up Victoria because she's actually won 2 shows this year. This was her pro debut. She won the Legion show. and then she won Mexico right after that. There's not a whole lot of women this year that have won multiple shows. So we're going to go into this quite a bit with Bikini when we do Bikini tomorrow. But there's not a whole lot of women in wellness that have won 2 shows. Like Giselle won 2 shows, Cassandra's won 2, she's won 2. So because of that, I think she's one to be paying attention to. I don't see her in the top 10, but I could see her potentially in the, again, 11 to 15 zone. 11 to 15 zone, I think, could be a potential for her. She is qualified for the 2024 Olympia. So I do think that she's one to be watching. Now, when I reviewed this particular show, there's a few things I mentioned. I don't like her suit. I don't like her makeup, things like that. But this was her pro debut. So those things can all be fixed. So, you know, she's won a couple of shows. She might have made a few tweaks and things like that, gotten some feedback. Again, her posing's a little bit weird, that kind of thing. But pro debut, winning a show, not a bad call, right? Not a bad deal. So watch her going into the Olympia this year. I don't think she's going to be your top 10, but I do think she could be potentially placed in a placing position, right? So I do think that that's possible. And then the last girl that I brought up was Leonida. She did place last year at the Olympia. When I pulled up her photos, actually Devin mentioned to be looking at her as well. And I did think that she was one to be paying attention to and watching. Now these photos are not great lighting. Hard to really kind of see her physique, but she's got really good shape. I'm trying to see. Okay, so here's a back shot. So again, this lighting's a little rough. We can't really see her conditioning. We can't really see detail and things like that. So I don't want to give her too much grief on all that. But she looks to me to be improved from the Olympia last year with a little bit of a better floater for physique and things like that. And she did place last year. I think she took like 15th or something like that last year. So she did place last year. I do think she's going to place this year. I think she's probably, again, not top 10, maybe top 10, maybe depends on if she comes in tight enough. From what I can see from these photos, looks like she needs to tighten up a little bit. But again, the lighting's terrible in these pictures, so I could be completely wrong on this. But I think she's a little bit blocky to be a top 10er. But I do think that she could be placing. I think she could be placing at this show. She's got a really good look. And again, wellness shape, meaning like she's smaller on top, bigger on bottom. So I would be paying attention to her for sure. You know, I pulled up a bunch of names, and it's hard with wellness this year because, again, we haven't had a lot of these girls competing a lot. You know what I mean? Like some of them have competed a little bit, enough to get a pro win. We've only got a few people that have had more than one win, that have had multiple wins. So it's difficult to say, okay, this person's a front runner here. There's just not really a lot of those people that have been doing that this year that are building momentum and all of that. So, you know, when it comes down to it, I think the top 5 is pretty solid. I think the top 5 is pretty clear. Like, I think we're probably going to see that top 5, you know what I mean? But I just don't know outside of that. These are just some of the girls I looked up. Lisa, all right. Lisa missed well last year, but she didn't do well, but her physique proved a lot. So I pulled up Lisa, and actually that was one that Devin mentioned as well. I'll pull her up now so you can see her. I personally just wasn't hugely impressed, but again, that was her pictures from the Olympia last year, I believe. So let me see. I'll pull her up so you guys can see her. Well, I did look her up. I don't know why they're not saying no results. I'm wondering if I can go back to the Olympia page here and find her. Oh, so Leonida placed 9th. And then Lisa placed 15th. Lisa was the one that placed 15th. So yes, Devin did mention to look at her. She just competed in the Fit Parade. So let me pull those pictures up and take a look at her shape. Oh, okay. You know what? Yes. Because she was actually they talked about her on the Reddit board. She's got a good shape. She looks a lot better than Olympia. This is like a completely different physique than what she had at the Olympia this past year. Let's see. Yes, I do think she could do well. Absolutely. There we go. So I do think she could do well. Sorry, her eyes are closed here, but this is the best front pose that we have. She does have a good shape. Absolutely. Yeah, when I pulled her name up, all I did was look at her Olympia pictures. I didn't look at these pictures. Her Olympia pictures look way different than these photos. I did see her mentioned, like I said, on Reddit, and I did think that she looked pretty good in those photos. I just didn't connect that it was the same person. If I'm looking at this from my perspective, I think her glutes are a little overpowering. Could just be the lighting, this particular show. Could just be the lighting. But she's nice and round and full. She's got good conditioning. She's got a good look. Again, she's lower body dominant. Glutes look a little bit big in this particular shot in comparison to her legs. So, placing, yes. Maybe top 10 if they reward. I particularly like this shape. If they're not going for too much size, I'm good with this. Like, I think that she could do well. Top 10, maybe. Top 10, maybe. We'll see. I think she's going to place. I do think she's going to place. We'll see. We'll see how she comes in and how she looks next to everybody else. She absolutely has top 10 potential for sure. Yeah, Devin, when you mentioned her, I did look her up, but again, I just didn't go look through her contest photos. I just looked at the Olympia photos. She does look better now than Olympia for sure. Absolutely. But yeah, so like I said, I think it's going to be Francielli, Isa, and then 3 through 5 is going to be a matter of how they come in. I'd like to see Cassandra in that third place position, Rayanne in the 4th, and then Giselle in the 5th, and then everything else is up for grabs. And as we know, if somebody comes in with a really good shape and they get into that first call out, they could easily work their way up. I think that Lisa that we just pulled up, if she can get into that first call out, I think she could work her way up. I think that Andrea Horenko, she could work her way up. Who else on this list I think could work up? I think Tiffany could work her way up if she gets into that first call out. That's what I'm going to stick with. I think the rest of these girls, I'm pretty solid on them being like what I mentioned in the top 10, top 15-ish area. But those are the girls I think that if they get looked at, they could absolutely work their way up the ranks. Maybe even Alexis Adams, maybe even her. Anybody else that I'm missing? Anybody else that you guys wanted me to pull up that I didn't pull up? I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of shockers here. I think we might see one person move their way up, maybe like an Andrea or something like that. I think we might see somebody like that come in and maybe take a top 6 spot. Potentially push a Giselle out, potentially push a Rayanne out, that kind of thing. But I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of shakeup in that top 6. Maybe one person. Maybe. Elisa, I feel like I pulled her up. Hang on one second. Let me look. Right here. I definitely pulled her up. I just don't remember what she looked like. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan. I mean, just even this one shot right here, her waistline's distended and stuff like that. I don't. Not saying no. Definitely not saying no. I'm just personally not drawn to this particular physique. I'm not drawn to this particular look. Yeah. But, anything could happen. The thing with this year, like I said, I mean, other than the girls that we know, like I mentioned the top 5 there, the rest of them haven't really been tested much. The top 5 that we've talked about, they've all been tested against each other. They're all previous Olympians, those kinds of things. The rest of them haven't been. So it really is kind of anybody's game right now as far as pushing their way up into that top call out and potentially get into a top 5 or a top 6 situation, right? But we don't know. We haven't seen them next to each other, right? We haven't seen, like I said, we haven't seen a whole lot of these girls compete. It's like once they win a show, they're done. So this is going to be the first time they get tested, next to each other. So it's really, I think that 6 through 10 spots, those spots are really wide open, the 6 through 10. So again, I'm pretty solid on my 1 and 2. And then it's just going to be a matter of who comes in best for 3 through 5. And then who knows from there. Any one of those girls that I mentioned, I was like, well, they could be in this somewhere. They could be in there somewhere. You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool because it is open and it's going to give somebody an opportunity to really kind of show up and show out. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Do I think we're going to have a new champion? No. I think we're going to have a repeat. I think Francie is going to repeat until she decides to hang the heels up. So I just think that it is what it is. Kind of same thing as figure with Sydney. I don't think anybody's ever going to beat Sydney until she decides to peace out. When she's out, then somebody will take over. But until then, she's going to win the title. So I just it is what it is. So, guys, if you are watching this after, like, comment, put your picks in there. Let me know if there's, we got hiccups. Let me know if there's anybody I missed. Tomorrow, we'll be back on. Same time, same place, and we'll do Bikini. Okay, we'll preview Bikini tomorrow night, 8:15, right here. Okay, and I'm gonna let you go because I just got hiccups somehow. I don't know why I got hiccups, but hey, I need to go drink some more water apparently. All right, guys. Hope you have a great night. That's our Wellness Olympia preview picks. Let me know when I post this in the comments who your top 5 is, who your top 10 is. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, all of those kinds of things. And then we'll see what happens next week. We got a week and a half. Crazy. It's coming up so fast. All right, guys. Again, if you want to work with me, Sean'sCoutureCuties.com. Cutie Boutique is right here for you. Suits, hair, makeup, retail, all that, everything right there. That's it. We'll see you back here tomorrow night for our Olympia preview for Bikini. Bikini is tomorrow night. Big one. The big one. All right, guys.